Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm glad to have you here in my own personal space. Back up a little bit. No? Okay, you're good right there. This is Turn the Page. I am your host, Tony Stevens, your local neighborhood star power. I'm glad to be back here with you, and I'm so happy you're continuing to watch our show. I am joined again by my good friend, John McClay, the Sex Appeal. Go ahead and say hey to the audience.
Hey to the audience.
That's right. That's exactly how you're supposed to introduce yourself, and I appreciate him for that. We're going to go ahead and go through some news for you, but first, before I do that, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family, even your grandmother, because we're a huge proponent of grandmothers watching digital YouTube shows. And on top of that, actually, TTP right here, we're presenting to you a Patreon experience. All right, so you can go ahead. I'm going to provide a link after the fact through my technical difficulties department, and we're going to get it so that you can link right into our Patreon. Check it out, read through it. We're actually going to be doing a contest giveaway. So if you're able to like the Patreon, share the post, and get 2 other friends that you shared it with, then you're automatically enrolled for a raffle to win a Turn the Page mug prize gift set. Okay, so that's a box set of awesome mugs created by Turn the Page's awesome art department, which is actually, her name is Laura Hibbard. She's beautiful, she's excellent, artistic, and great. So support us, and we'll support you by continuing to bring you news and fun facts about things you didn't know you were thinking about until I told you you were. But to kick that off, actually, just in toy news alone, and John, I know that you don't necessarily jump on board with the toy collector venue. You have a few things. I appreciate your apartment. Your apartment's actually one of the coolest places I've ever been.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's got an eclectic feel to it. If you're from the local Memphis, Tennessee area, you would know what the word Midtown means. His apartment has a very Midtown feel, very eclectic. It's
I've
got
heard
a lot of nice books.
I've heard Bohemian before.
Bohemian?
Yeah.
You are giving me some Rhapsody right now. So I'll go with that. Bohemian. It's a very bohemian appeal. And you actually just got, what was that I saw the other day? You had actually just gotten a new, nice book that you were adding to your collection.
Oh, it was a Norse mythology, select
That was a
stories from
beautiful
Norse
cover.
mythology.
It had a
Oh,
beautiful
yeah,
cover
yeah.
to it. Yeah, I was really nice.
Leather bound, gold inlay, the whole thing. It's great.
Man, see, and that's where you get the bohemian appeal to your apartment. It's like a professor that's off work trying to teach people how to live life in a nice Zen Buddhist way. So I appreciate that about you. And everybody can kind of see what he's got going on back there most of the time. So it's a cool, crazy place. You should probably see if whenever you visit Memphis, Tennessee, and you're doing some sort of like a Airbnb, maybe John will start selling tickets to go through his house, like a little tour of his house, and then you can leave. All right? Not really. I don't think he wants that kind of attention.
Or you can stay
Or
forever.
Is that what that other hidden room is? I didn't know.
Don't come to my house. Don't come to my house.
Yeah, once you go to John's house, you never leave. So, but honestly, in toy news, I know that you have a few things that stand around your house. You've got a very eclectic feel, but Marvel Legends has been knocking things out of the park one year after the next. Produced obviously by Hasbro, local to, I believe it's Rhode Island where they're based out of, but it is an American company. It's been doing a great job with a lot of the Marvel products. They've also got G.I. Joe, a few other things, deals with Walmart. But they are releasing a House of X. Now, our last episode, you know that we talked very passionately about House of X. They are releasing a House of X inspired wave for Marvel Legends. So you'll get like the White Knight version Magneto, the new Professor X with the black suit, large cranial Cerebro unit, which is very neat. My adorable sidekick unfortunately couldn't be here due to obligations with his family. However, we miss you, we support you, buddy, but I wish you were here because you'd be giddy and laughing and turning red in the face about how happy you are on this news. It's definitely cool. Another thing that he threw out there to me is the Razor Crest. Now that's the ship that's premiering Mandalorian TV show that's on Disney Plus, and they're doing a crowd-funded version of that. Okay, so this is going to be a large object. This isn't like, hey, I'm going to go buy a Hot Wheels real quick. This is like, hey, John, let's hang this from your ceiling as if it's a chandelier. I don't know
So
if
who's
you've
making
actually.
it? You said it was crowdfunded.
It is crowdfunded. It is a Hasbro product. So much the
That's
same as
weird.
they just did this for a Marvel product, which was the Sentinel. Okay, so they just did a recent crowdfunded version of the Sentinel, which, if I remember, was about 3 feet tall. That it's going to be when it finally gets to people. So my infant stepson is actually almost shorter than this Sentinel that they're releasing. To give you an idea of perspective, he's about a little under 2 years old. This thing is about as big as he is.
Now, is that
So
on Kickstarter or
it's
Indiegogo?
not, no. So it goes through what they have is called HasLabs. So it's
Oh,
their
okay.
own version. Basically, it's like their own company boxed version of a Kickstarter. So much the same as Todd McFarlane's out there still running his Kickstarter for the Spawn figures. And if I remember correctly, he's actually adding some of that Kickstart funding to his Spawn movie project, the Spawn reboot that's supposed to come out. So I'm really down for that. I really hope he's able to achieve that. But yeah, so that's what Hasbro does. They have their HasLabs is what they're calling it. And that section is basically these large high-end collectibles that are going to cost us a lot of money to actually produce. We don't want to just put them out there on the shelves 50 at a time and hope that people are going to buy them for the right price. We're going to go ahead and have them reserve one, pay down for it, and then create them. And as it extends, just like Kickstarter, you get extra little fun things. So for the Sentinel, I know it got extra heads that you could interchange. It had little 6-inch scale figures that were going to come with it. So each time that they met their goal, they added something new and interesting and unique to this toy build. So for the Razor Crest, I would imagine maybe a 6-inch version of the Mando, maybe what will really blow everybody's socks off with a little 6-inch scale version of Baby Yoda. And right there and then, people are automatically giving them hundreds of dollars just for a small piece of plastic that looks like a green infant. I don't know how you feel about that.
If you want to waste money, go ahead. It's good for the economy, right?
It is good for the economy because, like I said, I did mention it is an American-based company. It's an American-based corporation. They do have a lot of their factories out there in Rhode Island, their headquarters. Now, of course, like anybody else, you're going to have some overseas production teams, things of that nature. But this would actually go into our economy. So if that's the way that you want to participate, then please do so. Because that would be a great way to go about it. And you get a really cool, large new chandelier to hang from your ceiling. You probably put some light up functions on it so I can actually convince my wife that it's a chandelier and she might actually let me do it.
I'll hook up some fiber optics if you get it, and then I'll help
See,
you.
there we go. Game on. Challenge accepted. But yeah, that's a big part of toy news. There's, like I said, there was also the Spawn Kickstarter, and off that, I really, like I said, he's funding a lot into that, so hopefully that actually goes through for them, and that'll work out. There's other things going on now, mostly that's in the movies and TV department. So as we all know, and I know, John, you're very sad about this. One of my favorite experiences is actually going with you to a movie theater because it's very intense watching you watch a movie.
Okay, I
think
did not
last time
realize that you felt that way.
Well, yeah. Well, what was the last one we got to see? You went with me to go see the Joker, right?
I think it was. It was the Joker. Yeah, that was the
Well,
last
that
movie
one,
I saw in the theater.
it was great though, and my wife actually just recently started watching that on streaming today. She was asking me a lot of questions about it, and I said, "Look, sweetheart, it doesn't really have a whole lot of basis in like fact of character, but I don't want you to get persuaded by that. I love this movie. It is a great movie. It's just hard to really associate it to anything else." But that that was the last movie we saw together. You were very intense about it, and you had some great thoughts and opinions on it. So I always enjoy going to see that. Maybe coming up in 2021, we're going to get to do that again. Because as everybody knows, the MCU has been an absent presence in the year of 2020. Just another reason.
2 years.
It's an abysmal hole of a year. It's felt like, oh, there's a plague. Oh, there's murder hornets. Oh, there's tsunamis and hurricanes. And I haven't had a Captain America movie in months. So they have actually announced that they've pushed back Black Widow. She is now taking up the May block of 2021. We're also going to have Shang-Chi and the Eternals coming out that year. In addition to that, there are about 12 accumulatively, 12 between their Disney Plus programming and their actual cinematic releases. We're going to have 12 different things just from the MCU coming out in 2021. Now, I mentioned a lot of those. A lot of people have known about those. But what I think is one of the big ones, and I'm not talking about the Winter Soldier and Falcon. They're going to be great. I'm going to watch it. I'm not even talking about Loki, which is one of my favorite things, and I'm hoping to watch it. And
You
I'm
better say WandaVision. You're not talking about?
I'm not talking about it. What I'm talking about is one of the greatest things I have heard in a long time, and that is old Samuel L. Jackson himself is going to be reprising his role as Nicholas J. Fury on his own Disney Plus focused series.
Well, this must be brand new news. I have not heard this.
That is going to be epic. I think that he's a great actor. He's one of the greats of our time. And just with the way that he maneuvers through the character, I can't wait to see how that show centers around him. Because
right now, I'm starting to think.
Well, it's like, Captain America. What's his superpower? Well, he's got strength and endurance and
integrity.
Shield.
Integrity is his superpower.
When you watch his movies, you know that his real great thing is leadership. So you've got these other characters that show up in his movies. Captain America 3 ended up almost being like a separate Avengers movie. So I feel like Nicholas Fury would be much akin to that. We might get a whole lot of additional Shield espionage information. We might get a few characters showing up in there, maybe like Hawkeye or something, and then move forward from there. So I'm really excited about that. And that also means that somewhere out there, the Hot Toys production company is going to make a new 12-inch version of Nick Fury, and I will buy myself a Samuel L. Jackson stand-in toy. That will be like right here. You might not even see Iron Man anymore. I'm going to replace it with Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. He's just the best. Now, off that, we've also got some news about the Black Adam. I don't know how much. Did you ever read anything from Shazam, DC Comics?
No, not really. I think I was first introduced to Black Adam from an animated movie. I believe it was a Superman All-Star. And that was the first time I saw Black Adam. And
the short that went on the front of the movie.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That movie was basically 3 shorts, I think, and one of them dealt with Black Adam.
He is an epic character, especially to opinionate that in the time of Egypt being the high seat of the world. You got to rewind way back to where like the Egyptian gods were the gods to believe in. The pyramids were fresh and brand new, and you had Egypt and the pharaohs were actually the high seat of the world, rivaled by like none at the time. So that's the time frame you're looking at, as far as I'm concerned, with Adam Teth when you're talking about the Black Adam. Now, at that time, he was the big superhero. He was actually the Superman of that age. But as we know him in current times, because he's continued to live, he's continued to kind of view justice in his own way, he's not exactly what you would call a superhero in current times. And the heroes stand against him, most likely. However, in that being the time frame, and we already know that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has signed on to be the titular character of Black Adam, Now we've also received news that a very good actor, you might know him from an old show in 2008 called Leverage, Aldous Hodge, has been signed on to be Hawkman in this movie. So he'll be the Hawkman of that day and age, which of course that character reincarnates, so he may not be the Hawkman throughout the whole DCU, but for this movie at least, he will get a pretty big role being Hawkman. So that's pretty big news. Did you ever even watch the show Leverage?
I've seen a couple episodes. I don't. Is it still going on? Like this was
I
a few
don't believe
years
it's
ago.
still, no, it got canceled at some point in time, but for the run that it had, it was really good. I felt really comfortable watching it.
Yeah, it was definitely like a comfort show, probably for older people like ourselves, because it was
Well, yeah,
reminiscent of
Nam had
an
a
earlier
toll.
era. Hmm?
I said Nam had a big toll on
Oh
us.
yeah.
So we got to
Yeah, I guess
remind
I go a little bit further back than you, but that type of episodic, based storytelling, and that wasn't the only reason that it felt like an older show. As production value was that of a older show, the way it was written.
Yeah, it
But
definitely it was a very sitcom quality. But he had a good
yeah,
role on it. I cannot remember the name that he actually carried in the show, but he was the hacker. He was the technical guy, and he was always sneaking into places and getting things done. So he did a very good job with that. Hopefully, he can carry that kind of personality over here for us into the Hawkman, and see how we can get that to be a bigger appeal to a greater audience. And see
something
how,
that just occurred to me that The Rock was also the Scorpion King, and this is kind of playing the same vein. Like
yes,
so,
this
like
is
he was a
like
good guy in the
superhero version of
past,
Scorpion King.
yeah, and then in the future, in the present day, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, very much so. So it's very much a reiteration of that for him. I think as an actor, he'll be able to do it well, uh, but with a better suit and some cooler powers. So I'm really happy for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doing that. He's actually one of the few people I think could have gone from something like the the World Wrestling. So he went from TV wrestling uh, over to actually being a TV and movie personality, and has done a great job. I know that John Cena fella keeps trying to do it. He just doesn't. For me, he doesn't carry as much personality as The Rock does. I'm not downing you, John Cena. You could easily pop my head like a zit if you wanted to. But Dwayne Rock Johnson just has that charisma. So hopefully he can use that to really help springboard this product for DC, because DC, I feel, really struggles. They struggle a lot with this sort of stuff. Um, and there's some famous people out there. The Punisher writer from back in the day, the creator, had actually suggested canceling all superhero comics for now. Don't release any more serials on them. Only do a produced book on it. Digital presence is what matters. So it's basically, he was feeding into the idea that print is dead. I just hope he's not completely correct, because I would like to continue to receive print. It smells better, feels better, looks better. It's
You
just better.
know, what if instead of like producing comic books in the traditional 22 pages throwaway format, what if they produced like say like the House of X and Powers of X only as a leather bound like premium edition,
Correct, and that's I think what he was
like a
aiming to.
like a book, like any other book that would release. I
You would
think that
basically
like
wait a few months that year, and you would receive that book. So that book would be for sale. You'd go get that book. The only difference, though, I think, is that with at least the published serials, they get a good thumb to know when that's happening. But
mhm.
we'll talk more on that at a different time. That's definitely something I think we could debate on for a while. Actually, let's go ahead and cut for a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a different comic book subject, which is Image Comics. And I'm excited to talk to you about that. Again, don't forget to check out our Patreon link, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll be right back after you enjoy watching some commercials we produced for you.
Shh, they don't know I'm here yet. I have broken into the home and the offices of Turn the Page. My name is Quinn, and this is Quinn's Anime Corner. Welcome. So, Naruto, what is it? It's a show about ninjas. Kind of, sort of, maybe. He's got blonde hair, bright orange jumpsuit, so forget everything you know about ninjas. First of all, he's a 12-year-old boy who turns into a naked girl. Not very child-friendly. Kind of weird. He uses it to seduce grown men. His dad died, but they don't tell at the village that he is the son of their hero. His head is on a giant mountain, kind of like Mount Rushmore. He tends to graffiti it and deface it because it's fun, I guess. He ends up on a team, three-man team. A girl, an emo, and a guy who I swear is not David Bowie. He wears a mask the entire time. You never get to see his face, but he likes to poke people in the butt. Again, weird shows about ninjas, I swear. Yeah, he loves ramen. That's all he eats. That and spoiled milk. There's an actual episode about that where he has diarrhea. Don't know why. At one point, they join in an exam where there is like Vietnam, people dying. Yeah, 12-year-old kids competing against grown men to kill each other to rank up in their society. It's really weird. They find this creepy snake guy who's really a woman, who's really a guy, who's really a woman. We don't know. But you have a 12-year-old boy. It's kind of creepy. Or his mystical eye powers. Yes, there's eyes in this anime. They trade them like trading cards. It's really weird. And if you get enough eyes, eventually you get cool rippled eyes that can do crazy things. At one point, there's a giant war, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Jiraiya Sensei is a pervy dude who convinces a small 12-year-old boy to go peeping on naked women with him for research on a book. What book? Glad you asked. It's essentially a romance erotica novel. Kid-friendly. Remember, ninjas, I promise. They breathe fireball, make balls of energy and throw it at each other. There's knives. I think people die at some point. There's war, like I said. Multiple in the past, one in the future, by a guy who turns into a lady. Oh, did I mention? Spoilers. Duh. But I think I gotta go. I hear footsteps.
Hey, who's in my room?
God.